In this video, I'm going to give you 3 very tactical tips for franchisees looking to do their first seller finance deal. If you do not own a franchise yet, this video will still help you learn about the process. So once you have your first franchise, you can grow like a rocket ship. My name is Brian Beers. I've been in franchising my entire life. I've built a franchise portfolio of over 30 locations that will do over $40 million in revenue. I've grown significantly through leveraging seller financing. We've bought businesses as high as $2 million using seller financing and ones as low as $100,000 and everything in between. So everything I'm teaching you is things that I have done and I teach other people, and I've seen it work over and over again in multiple systems, not just the one I'm in, but as an industry. So tip number 1 is you need to build a relationship with the seller. There's a lot of trust that goes into a seller finance deal. Because think about it, somebody who's selling their business is loaning you money to then buy their business. And a lot of times as the buyer, you become the retirement plan of the seller. I'm the retirement plan of like 7 people that we've done deals with, where every month, like they're relying on the payments that I send them to live their life. And so there has to be a lot of trust there. They are not going to do a seller finance deal to a stranger. And so this is why, as an outsider, it's really hard to get a seller finance deal of any business, right? Because like they don't know you, they don't trust you. Like they want the bank money, they're okay with the taxes and all the other stuff because they're afraid you're not going to pay them. But once you're in a franchise system, you can build relationships with other franchisees. And now these guys become your friends. And it's so much easier to get deals when you're working with your friends, right? That is the number 1 thing, is you have to build a relationship. And so there's a couple different ways you can go about this. The first way is you want to build relationships with your neighbors. So I'm in Philadelphia, right? So I built relationships with other franchisees who had locations that were right next to mine. What did that relationship look like? We'd go out and get breakfast every once in a while. If I had a candidate who applied but wasn't a good fit for me, or maybe they lived really close to their area, I would send them potential candidates. If something that was working really well in marketing or lead gen or referral partners or anything that we were doing well, we would share with each other. There's just like share best practices, share talent, share whatever you need to help each other. Because like a rising tide lifts all boats in franchising, at least for the people who believe that. They're the ones that get the deals. The ones who don't, and they're jerks, and they don't want to share anything, and they don't want to talk to anybody, guess who's not going to get the deals? That's the first thing. And then you want to be known. So you want to get active on all the committees, right? In a franchise system, they're going to have a franchise advisory committee. They are going to have conventions. They may have a marketing committee. And volunteer, be part of that, give back. Then your name will go on these different email communications that go out. You'll be in different pictures. You'll start to be seen as kind of a pillar within the community, which builds trust. And then there'll be people around the country, or maybe even tertiary markets of yours, who you don't really know them, but now they're getting a good sense of knowing you, and you clearly care about the business. You're involved. You're energized, right? Those are all traits that someone who's looking to get out is going to look for in somebody that they want to get in. The next part of this is, you have to perform, right? Like your locations, your business needs to do well. You don't have to be the best in the country, but you definitely don't want to be the worst. Because if someone's let's say someone wants to sell me their business, like I want to buy it, they want to sell it, and there's another guy that's competing with me as the buyer, okay? If my stores, let's say are doing $1.2 million each, and we're like kind of right in the middle, but yeah, we have some really good performers, and we don't really have any bad ones, and we're very consistent with that. And they've seen like us acquire a store that was maybe doing $600,000, $700,000, kind of in that bottom quartile, and we upgraded the image of the store. We invested in people and training. And now that store that was doing, let's say 600, 700 is now doing like $1 million or 1.2 or what are my averages, right? It shows progress. And maybe there's another guy who's all over the place, right? He's got stores doing 500 and 400. And yeah, he's got some good ones too, but he's like much more of a roller coaster, but more on the downward side than me, which is, more on the upward and steady growth side. If you are selling somebody your business through seller financing and you expect like monthly payments, you'd want to go with the person who is consistently a good performer. Doesn't have to be the best, but they're consistent. And the other thing that comes along with that is the reputation that you have in terms of how do you take care of your people. Many small business owners have relationships with their employees, and they want to see their employees, in a company that's going to take care of them. I've established that reputation where if we buy one, like we offer everybody jobs day one, we keep their pay pretty much the same. We now offer them bonus plans. We have pretty good health insurance. We have a 401k. Many times we have more vacation and more PTO than what other franchisees have. And so all of that makes it like a really attractive offer. And to be honest, like that's part of our pitch when we're going to make offers is say, hey, listen, we're all your people, everyone's gonna have jobs. And, look at our track record. We did this deal 8 years ago and we still have like the core employees and they're thriving in our system. And we want the same to happen with your team today. That's like a very compelling pitch. And once again, if they didn't trust me on that, like they wouldn't really believe me, right? So like it all comes back to establishing trust, do the things you say you're going to do, be a good performer, and you will lay this very solid foundation that will be this pipeline for deals, all right? Tip number 2 is to find out their pain points. So like, why is someone selling? Go deep on this. Don't accept the surface level answers of, oh, I'm looking to retire and, it's just time for me to move on. And if that's the case, what I do is I follow this thing called the pendulum theory, right? Picture a pendulum. It's a little like, ball, and you like pull it to one side and then you let it go and it accelerates and it goes past the middle point all the way up to the other side. And then it goes up from the top and it goes down and back up, right? It like swings back and forth. And there's this theory in sales of a pendulum, right? And that let's say the yes is over here, or the no is over here and the yes is over here. And if I, as a sales guy, a pushy sales guy, I'm pushing somebody to try to get the yes, right? Guess what's going to happen? They're going to fly back, right? Way past like neutral into the no. And they're going to push even harder back to me that no, I don't want this thing at all. Like I'm leaving here. I'm getting other quotes. Give me my keys. I'm out of here. The harder you push somebody to get a yes, the more likely they are to come back and go hard on the no. The opposite is true too. If I push for a no, right? If I want to push to a no, they will push back past neutral into a yes. And now they really want to do the deal. I will ask them questions like, all right, so you want to retire and like, well, like, why can't you just like hire, a general manager to take over kind of all the day-to-day like stuff that you don't want to deal with? And they're going to say, oh, well, I tried that and it doesn't work. I'd say like, do you have a kid that could take over the business? Somebody could like follow in your footsteps. That's what I did, kind of taking over our family business and blowing it up. And they say, no, my kids, like they have no interest in this. We've already talked about it. And I said, well, what about like, if you do this, or this, do you think that would help like make you not want to sell it? And, this may seem counterintuitive. I'm telling you, it may be weird the first time you do it. But if you ask, and once again, you have a relationship like we talked about, and you are asking them these things, they will then push to say, no, like I'm ready. I tried that. I've thought through other things and it's just time. I really want to sell. I want to get out of this. As long as I'm the owner, like I'm going to keep thinking about this business. And so I can't go on vacation without thinking about it. I can't open up my email with like, oh, geez, what now? And then, if that guy were to quit, my general manager, it would be all back on me and I'd have to leave wherever I'm at playing golf and I'd have to go deal with this situation and just like, I'm done with all that. That's what you want to hear. Thrown in the towel. Like, I don't want to be any part of this business. It's not fun anymore. I want to move on with my life. I want this like clean cut, boom, I'm out. Once you get to that point, now you're not the buyer. You're the problem solver, right? Like you're the one saying, hey, listen, like, I agree. Like if I were in your shoes, I'd want the same exact thing one day. And listen, I can help you with that. And here's what our deal is going to look like. And then you can get into it, right? And here's why I'm the best buyer. I'm going to take care of all your employees. I'm going to carry on the legacy that you've built and this great reputation in this market. And I'm going to make you and everybody that you know proud to be part of this brand. Right? Think about that conversation, right? Like now you're the hero. You're solving all the problems. You're letting them go play golf. And like you're taking the load off and going with it. Dig deep. They'll give you surface level things and you really want to get into it. There's other times like I've done a deal where somebody's wife got a new job in a state. They like always wanted to move to North Carolina. She got the dream job, the dream location. And so they just had this deadline that said, listen, like we got to get out on this date. And like once I leave, that moving truck shows up, I want nothing to do with this business. Like it was a clear, line that they had to be. And so once again, who they want to sell, the guy they trust, they know, I have some leverage there, right? And I say, listen, the only way I can do this deal is X, Y, and Z, right? And that's how we do it. So you want to build a relationship. And number 2, you want to really dig in to find the pain and you want to be the solution. Because if they don't have much surface level pain, right? Like you don't ask those questions because you're afraid of losing the deal. Well, guess what's going to happen? As they get further and further along and you've spent time and money and you got the documents and like you're all ready, and now they're starting to get cold feet and they're thinking, man, what if I did like promote that guy? Or what if like my son, he's now showing some interest in this thing. Maybe I should hold off selling this, right? If you don't ask the questions now and get like anchored hard answers, they will figure it out by the end. And now you just wasted all this time and money that the finish line, you'll lose it. By covering it early, you squash it and then you can move forward. I've never lost a deal at the finish line because I've always been proactive in weeding out the answers. And sometimes they're saying, you're right, like I could do that. And then they do that for a little while. And then guess what? They come back and say, listen, I tried this thing. It didn't work. My son's not interested anymore. Whatever it is, I want to do the deal now. And now, like that pendulum, right? They're ready to go. And I'm the solution. They're coming to me. Guess who has the leverage? And so that is what you got to do on the second tip. Tip number 3 is you want to speak in terms of cash flow. When I negotiate a deal, my initial offer is as follows. I will give you $50,000 down and I will pay you $4,000 per month for the next 100 months. So in total, you will earn $450,000, over, the life of this deal, the life of the payment, whatever. That's how I do it. And then they come back and say, well, I want $75,000 down and I want $5,000 a month. And then I say, okay, well, I can do $75,000. I can do $5,000, a little bit more, but I can do that. But it's got to be for 80 months, right? So 80 times 5 would be 400 plus 75. So that would be $475 in total payments. That is how I negotiate it. I agree on down payment, monthly payment, and number of months. Honestly, I try to use whole numbers. I like round numbers. I try to use, increments of $500 for a monthly payment. I try to use increments of, $5,000 to $10,000 for a down payment. And the thing is, if you speak in the term, business owners are used to speaking in terms of cash flow, right? How much money am I making every month is what they think about, right? They don't think about, principal and interest and amortization and discounted cash flows and like balloon payments and like all this MBA crazy finance speak, which, you may be really smart and you may want to like impress them with all this stuff. But you know what they're going to do? As soon as you start talking like that, they're going to say, whoa, I don't know any of that shit. Let me get my attorney, let me get my accountant, and like we can all figure out like this like official valuation. I don't do that. I've never done that. And I'm telling you, don't even cross it. And so keep it simple is the way to do it. And then once you negotiate down payment, monthly payment, number of months, those 3 items, you can put them into a financial calculator. I like this Power One calculator on my phone, and it can back into an interest rate and a principal amount. So then, you'll have some crazy numbers. Like I'll do it right now on my phone here. If I said, hey, the down payment's gonna be $50,000, and I make that the amount, and I say 100 months, that would be 8.33 years, and I say the payment is $4,000, and I pick an interest rate. So the interest rate I'm going to pick here is, let's say, 5%, and that would make my purchase price $376,000, $475.55. At the end of the day, though, the down payment is $50,000, my monthly payment is $4,000, and the number of years is 8.33. Now, if he said, whoa, I want a higher interest rate. Okay, no problem. I'll put in 8%, and then I hit price, and now the price drops from $376,000 to $341,000 with $50,000 down, $4,000 a month for 100 months. The interest rate and the principal, you can play with these numbers, and like the lower you make the interest rate, the higher the purchase price, and the reverse is true, right? In that case, we went up on the interest rate and the purchase price goes down, right? Because the numbers I'm negotiating with are inclusive of principal and interest. They include principal and they include interest. But once you agree on the terms, like you can play with the numbers between 4 and 8 and 10 or 2. I mean, it doesn't really matter. As the buyer, your goal is the interest rate should be as low as possible, which raises the purchase price. Once again, your monthly payment doesn't change. It's still $4,000, but it raises the purchase price. And what your accountant's going to tell you is you want to put that purchase price towards assets, because assets, you can accelerate the depreciation of them so it saves you in taxes. Now, the seller, what's the opposite of that, right? They're going to want the least amount of money on assets, and they're going to want a lot into goodwill because they pay less on goodwill. And so there's this whole other topic on some of those details, but the thing you want to know at a high level is you want low interest rates, higher purchase price, the highest allocation that you can negotiate into the assets of the business. As long as the business has assets, like it's a lot easier to be able to negotiate assets and justify it versus a very asset light business. Those are my 3 tips. Build a relationship, find out their pain, and speak in simple terms. Negotiate down payment, monthly payment, number of months. If that'll get you started on this path. As I said, I've done multiple millions of dollars in seller finance deals, and it is a game changer once you figure it out. And these lessons apply to every single franchise out there. No matter if you're doing one deal or big deals, it's all about the relationships. And then the last piece of advice is you really need a good mergers and acquisition attorney, a business guy, someone who's done these deals before. A bad one can really, prolong and make it really painful. And so comment below if you have any questions, and I look forward to helping you build a fortune through franchising. Cheers.